Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have a brief game to share with you from the 2014 World Blitz Chess Championship. On the white end, Shakhriyar Mamedyarov playing against Judit Polgar. A very quick defeat here of Polgar, an 11 mover. What led to this quick defeat? I will be pointing to some things that I think led to it. In the opening we work with here, Trompowsky Attack, bishop g5. Black's reply, knight e4. Gotta do something with the bishop. Goes to the edge. And black now continues with d5. Now I'm going to throw some statistics your way. In looking at the Chess Masters database, the move that scores best for black is c5, with about 350 games played. C5 scores 34% win rate for white versus 40% for black. A close second to c5 is g5 with about 100 games played, scores 38% for each side. Now, why am I drawing some attention to these two moves? These are moves you might describe as energetic follow-ups to knight to e4. They put pressure on the dark squares. c5 opens up a path for the queen to quickly target b2 maybe, given this guy's all in on the king's side. B2 is especially sensitive. g5 looks to obtain a minor piece imbalance. This is one of the lines you could easily see. Very messy position ahead, to be sure. Weird structure. Minor piece imbalance. Bishop coming here, c5 as follow-ups. Okay, I'm pointing these details out for a reason. These two moves, energetic follow-ups. The move played in the game, a bit on the tamer side. There's no quick queen move coming out to put pressure on b2. How does d5 compare to the other two when we look at the numbers? Well, with about 200 games in the database with d5, white scores 45% versus black's 29%. That's a significant difference. Now, I do realize the sample size is not so great, but it at least gives us a taste. Okay, the follow-up here, f3 gives the knight a kick back to d6. Knight c3, some pressure on the pawn, simple enough to defend, and now comes e4. This is already looking really nice for white. Very nice center. f3 gave the knight a kick back to d6, and f3 is now useful in supporting white's center, preparing to meet this capture with the recapture of the pawn, maintaining 2 pawns on the 4th rank. Now, this tension here between the pawns remains for a few moves. Neither side is so quick to initiate the exchange. Why is this? Well, knights would be helped. That's one reason at least. So black in this position in the game plays queen b6, but if you initiate the capture, white's taking with the pawn. And there you go. The king knight now has access to its favorite square. Similarly, if white is initiating a capture on d5, pawn recaptures, there you go. Queen knight has access to c6, its favorite square. All right, follow-up in this game is queen b6. She's out of this pin. Now this pawn can at least move. She's also targeting b2. This threat is ignored. White continues with queen d2. Now, the follow-up here is e6. What's considered best is to, in fact, go ahead and track down that b pawn. And it calls this around an even position here after this capture on d5. Doesn't want to recapture with the pawn. You would just be inviting a knight into an aggressive square looking to land a fork. It says continue here with g6. Not necessarily to fianchetto the bishop. Bishop h6 can also be a move in this position, trying to deflect the queen away from defending the knight. But okay, it calls this around even, this line here, where black tracks down the b pawn. Polgar plays it with e6, so simply reinforces the d pawn. This bishop now has a move, although it's not the greatest move. Could just be captured and black goes uncastled. All right, at the end of the day, it's e6, queenside castles. This is already really good for white. Now, the top move here in the computer's eyes, not the most human follow-up here. It wants to play queen c7 with the idea to rush down here with the b pawn, kicking this guy away, trying to undermine white's support of the e pawn. Okay, black does not play in this way. The continuation here is d takes e. Now, I thought that this was a bit weird, to be sure. Like, why are you giving up this big pawn? Why are you helping out in the end? The king knight now has access to that f3 square. In a way, I felt that this capture is inconsistent when you look at these two moves. They're played in part to support the big pawn, and now all of a sudden, that big pawn is no longer. Why is black maybe playing in this way? Well, let's say black chooses a different move instead of this capture on e4. For instance, let's say this knight decides to develop to d7. Here's how white can respond. This helps explain why maybe black is giving up the d5 pawn, this line I'm about to share with you. White can sacrifice on the d5 square. With this knight on d7 in this line, the bishop and king now have no moves. Look at this bishop knifing in. And white in this position can plant a major piece now on the e-file. It says queen e1 is best, and to be sure, I was a bit curious about why queen e1 of all moves in this case. Well, she's not only giving check, but also guarding the bishop. There is some fancy line where if you're not defending the bishop, the knight can go into e4, and after you capture, there's queen h6 landing a check, targeting the bishop. White wouldn't have to worry about that with the queen on e1 here. Okay, at the end of the day, black says, let me just give up that d pawn. Takes on e4. White is now considered winning here. Follow up, queen a5, some pressure on a2. Consistent follow-up after queenside castles, very normal. King on b1 watching over the a2 pawn. That is one of the points. Follow-up now is knight to d7. Okay. What is it like best here for black? It says move pawns like a6 or b5. In the meantime, white could make healthy moves like bishop d3, knight f3, rook f1. Excellent position for white. Every piece is fantastic. Also, with no black d pawn around, d5 is a break that's right around the corner to crack open the position for the better developed side. Team white here. Okay, black does not play in this way with pawns. Develops the knight to d7. Pop quiz here. What move would you play? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, final move of this game. Knight d5. Black resigns. Why? Well, there's a problem here. These squares are covered by the bishop, and right around the corner is a knight c7 check. There's tension between the queens. There's no way for the queen to move and safely defend against knight c7. White has all of these squares on this diagonal covered by the minor pieces. The other detail behind the earlier king b1 move, when queen takes queen is played in this position, if it's played in this position, it's not hitting with check. That detail matters because white would have checkmate in reply. So there's simply no solution here for black. Black is going to now lose a queen for a minor piece. Considers queen takes knight as one of the best tries. Okay, no hope here for Team Black. All right, in this one, after knight d5, Black simply resigns. So, what'd you think of this one? Anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.